Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about all things universal credit. Now, the world's gone a bit crazy over the last year, and at the time of recording, the UK has just gone into another national lockdown, so I'm sure the need for universal credit will be rising. So in this video, I'm going to go through step by step everything you need to know about it if you are thinking about applying. We're going to cover what is universal credit and the eligibility requirements to apply for it, how much you'll possibly get paid, and how that may affect your current earnings. And we'll talk about how to actually make a claim, how to get an advance if you do need it, and your responsibilities once you have qualified for universal credit. All the points will be timestamped in the description below, so if you want to skip ahead to any parts that are relevant for you, you can do that. So without taking any more of your time, let's get straight into it. So what is universal credit? Well, in short, it's a payment from the government to help with your living costs. You may be able to get it if you're on low income, but unable to work, or you're out of work at the moment. You may have heard of other benefits in the past, like child tax credit, housing benefits, working tax credit. Universal credit is basically an umbrella that covers all of them old benefits. So if you're applying for any kind of them old benefits, you will be doing it through universal credit now. So in terms of eligibility for universal credit, you may be eligible if you are on low income or out of work, you're over 18, although there are some exceptions for 16 and 17-year-olds. You're under the state pension age, you and your partner have less than £16,000 in savings and investments, and you also have to live in the UK. The number of children you have does not affect your eligibility for universal credit, but it may affect the amounts that you get. If you're applying for universal credit and you live with a partner, your partner's income and savings will be taken into account, even if they're not applying for universal credit themselves. If you're 18 and over and in training or full-time study, or if you're 16 and 17, you may be eligible for universal credit if one of the following applies, and I'll put them on screen now. And in terms of state pension age, you and your partner can apply for universal credit if one of you is under the state pension age and eligible for universal credit, but once you both reach state pension age, your claim will be stopped. So how much will you be receiving on universal credit? Well, that's made up of two different things. There's a standard payment and also an extra payment if you are eligible for that. So let's talk about the standard payment first. If you're single and under 25, you receive an amount of £342.72 per month. If you're single and over 25, you receive £409.89 per month. If you're a couple and both under the age of 25, you'll receive £488.59. And if you're a couple and at least one of you are over the age of 25, you'll receive £594.04 per month. So that's the standard allowance. On top of that, you may get extra payments if you are eligible. For example, if you have children, here are the rates that you could get on top. If you have a disability or health condition, you could also receive an extra payment, and here are the amounts. And if you care for a severely disabled person and provide care for at least 35 hours per week, you can get an extra £162.92 per month. You could also get help with your housing costs. How much depends on your age and your current circumstances. This payment can cover rent and some service charges, or if you're a homeowner, you may be able to get a loan to help with interest payments on your mortgage or any other loans you've taken out on your property. If you're applying for universal credit but you're on a low income, your earnings does affect the amount that you'll get. For every £1 that you earn in your job, your universal credit payment reduces by 63 pence. However, there are some exceptions to that, and that's called a work allowance. The work allowance allows you to earn a certain amount of money before your universal credit starts being reduced, and you can do that if you or your partner are responsible for a child or a young person, you or your partner are living with a disability or health condition that affects your ability to work. The work allowance is also affected depending on whether you get help with housing costs or not. If you get help with housing costs and you are eligible for work allowance, that work allowance will be £292 per month before the universal credit starts getting reduced. And if you don't get help with housing costs but are eligible for the work allowance, you can earn £512 per month before your universal credit starts getting reduced. So how will you get paid? Well, universal credit is usually paid once a month into a bank account, building society account, or credit union account. If your payment includes help for housing, you're the one that's usually responsible for making the payment to your landlord. From the time you've been accepted for universal credit, it usually takes about 5 weeks for your first payment to come, and then you receive a payment on the same date every single month from then. If you do need help with your living costs during that 5 weeks before your first payment, you can apply for an advance payment, and I'll talk more about that in a second. So let's talk about the application process. Before you get started, you'll need a number of things on hand to make the process quicker and smoother. First of all, you'll need details of your bank account, building society account, or credit union account. If you don't have any of these accounts, you can call the Universal Credit Helpline to arrange a different payment method. You'll also need an email address, information about your housing, for example, how much rent you pay, details of your income, details of any savings or investments, like shares or properties that you receive an income from, and the details of how much you pay for childcare if you are applying for help with childcare. They'll also ask you to verify your identity online, usually through a third party, which could be the Post Office, Experian, or a number of other companies, but the Post Office and Experian are usually the fastest and the two that most people use. And to verify your identity, you'll need some proof of ID. That could be a passport, a driving license, or a credit or debit card. To start the application process, you must go to this website and click the green Apply Now button. If you don't have access to the internet or need help with your application process, the Citizen Advice Bureau have a help to claim department who can help you with all benefit claims. So contact your local Citizen Advice Bureau if you need the help. Once you click Apply Now, it will ask you questions about benefits you're currently receiving or if you have in the past. It'll then ask you to create a username and password, which will need to be verified with your email address. So make sure you put in the correct email address that you have access to now. The verification email does sometimes show up in the junk folder, so make sure you check in there just in case you're waiting for the email and it doesn't seem to arrive. Once you've completed all the steps of the application process, if you are approved, you will get access to the Universal Credit website where you'll be able to use your username and password to log in. You'll also be assigned a work coach. If you're not looking for work, don't worry about that. You still will be assigned a work coach to guide you through the process and keep everything up to date. Now, you normally would have to attend the job centre before your first payment to attend a meeting with your job coach. However, during the current times that we're in, they're doing all these appointments over the phone. When they call you, it's usually on a private or withheld number, so make sure you don't ignore the call and you do answer it, because missing meetings without letting them know first could lead to a sanction and a reduction or ending your payments. So in the meeting with your work coach, you'll set out an agreement called the claimant commitment. Depending on your situation and which benefits you are eligible for, this can include things like writing a CV, looking and applying for jobs, or attending training or courses, and importantly, report any changes to your circumstances. If you're a single parent or the lead carer in a couple, your responsibilities will change as the child gets older. I'll put a table up now of how that looks. If you're receiving help with childcare costs, you must report your childcare costs when you pay them and prove that you've paid your childcare provider. To do this, you'll need to show proof of the childcare provider for each child. For example, an invoice or contract that includes the childcare provider's registration number and full contact details. You'll also need to provide proof of the amount you paid and when you paid it, for example, a receipt or a bank statement. If you do need an advance payment before your first payment comes through, you can do that either online once you've logged into the Universal Credit website, or you can do it through your work coach. The advance amount depends on the amount of Universal Credit you're eligible for. You'll also need to explain why you need the advance. For example, if your boiler's broke or your car's broken down. However, there are some things that they don't provide advances for, like clothes or technology. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about Universal Credit and the application process. If you have any further questions about Universal Credit or have any video ideas that you'd like me to do next, please leave them in the comments below. And if you found this video useful at all, please consider giving it a like and subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.